Hey there, Frederick Douglass Elementary School. It's Mrs. Shoepard, and for today I'm going to be doing the art lesson down here on the floor. And the reason for that is because I have a lot of pieces that we need for today's lesson. We've been doing a lot of drawing and a little bit of painting so far with remote learning, and I thought that maybe this week we could do some projects that are three-dimensional. And three-dimensional just means things that you can hold, okay? Items, objects. And the projects that we're gonna be making are gonna be made out of things that hopefully you can find somewhere around your house, or if you don't have them right now, you can be saving them over the next couple of days, and then you can make this project whenever you have all the items that you need. So today I'm gonna show you how to make a robot. And with the robot, you're gonna need quite a few items. So I'm going to show you what I have, and then you can see what you have at your house to make this project. So I have one paper towel roll. I have 2 toilet paper tubes. I have one kind of small size Amazon box and a small size tissue box. So you're going to use the tissue box for the head of the robot and Amazon box for the body of the robot. You might be able to use like a larger size tissue box if you have one of those, but just take a look at the difference between the 2 sizes so that you can get an idea of what size you want for the head and what size you want for the body. You're going to need 2 egg cartons. These ones are the ones that are made out of cardboard, but if you have the kind that are made out of styrofoam, that's okay. You can use hopefully the ones that come with 12 eggs, but you could use bigger or smaller ones if you have different size ones. You might want to use some aluminum foil for this project. I'm going to use aluminum foil for parts of the project, and then also a little bit of gray paint. If you don't have gray paint but you have black and white paint, you can mix those together. You could also use silver paint for this project to kind of make it look more like metal, but I don't have any silver paint, so I'm just going to use gray paint. And an assortment of lids. So I am using these are actually from Gatorade bottles. So 2 Gatorade bottle lids for the eyes of the robot. And then I know robots don't really have ears, but we're gonna be attaching something that kind of looks like an ear. So these are baby food jar bottle lids. So whatever kind of lids you have, if they're from like a milk jug, or you could use jar lids from like pasta sauce or pickles, any kind of lid really. And then you need 2 of those to put on the sides of the robot's head. And you'll need scissors. If you have a glue gun and you have an adult that's willing to do this project with you, it might be easier to do this project with a hot glue gun. I'm going to try to do most of the project with duct tape, just that way, because duct tape is going to be safer, and then that way if you don't have an adult that is willing to do this project with you, if you use duct tape, that's going to be safer than a hot glue gun, and you'll be able to do it by yourself. And then the last thing that I have are these like random screws that I found. So if you have any kind of like screws or nuts and bolts that you want to attach to your robot, you can. And I'm going to try to use a screwdriver to see if I can get the screws to actually screw into the cardboard boxes. I haven't ever made this project before, so I don't know if that will even work. So like I said, I've never made this before, so just bear with me for this video if it doesn't go exactly the way that I planned in my head. We're going to work on it together, so let's see how it goes. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is do the painting part of this project, because I want those pieces to be able to dry so that when we're ready to start putting all the pieces together, the paint is dry. Initially, when I was trying to figure out how I was going to make my robot, I was thinking that I was going to paint everything either like a silver or a gray so that everything was matching. But once I started picking out the pieces that I was going to use, I was thinking that maybe the paint wouldn't cover over some of the things that I have on my boxes. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover these with the aluminum foil. So these are going to kind of look like metal because they're covered with foil. And then I was thinking, okay, well, if I'm going to cover these with foil, I can just cover everything with foil, except that I'm not really sure exactly how to get the aluminum foil down into all these pieces on the back of the egg carton without it breaking. Or looking like crumply and weird, because the idea of the egg carton is to make this part look like wheels. So I've decided to paint the egg cartons. This part on the bottom is already kind of like a grayish color, so I might just leave that the color that it already is, but I don't really like all the words that are on here, so I'm just going to use the paint to cover over this side of the egg carton so that I can cover up all the words. Now this side of the egg carton is the side that's going to be attached to the body of the robot. So if you don't have gray paint and your egg carton does have words on it, it's not a huge deal because this side is going to be up against the body of the robot. So you're really not going to see too much of this side anyway. So if you don't have gray paint or silver paint, not a huge deal. Okay, I put my egg cartons to the side so that they can dry, and while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to be covering these items with aluminum foil. So I have my 2 boxes, my paper towel tube, and my toilet paper tubes. First thing I want to do is, if you have a box that has like an opening, a cardboard, like a lid opening, I am going to tape that closed so that doesn't keep popping open while we're trying to cover it with the foil. So I have my duct tape. And you don't have to cover the entire part if you don't want to, but if that's easier for you, you kind of just pull some out and then kind of line it up to see how much you need. And then I usually rip the tape, but if you're not very good at ripping tape, you could also use your scissors and cut the tape. So push down the lid so that it's closed and hold that in place with one hand, and then try to line up your tape with the other hand. And it doesn't matter if it's like completely centered, just so long as it's holding this closed. And if you don't want like a little bit of it to be popping up on the ends, you can put tape over there also. So the tape would go down over the side. But this doesn't have to be centered, and it doesn't have to look nice. If it has like a little bit of bumps and things in it, that's okay because we're covering it with the foil. So when you're ready to cover it with the foil, pull the foil out. And just be careful because when you're ripping the foil, this edge right here is really sharp. So you pull the foil out and just get a big piece, and you don't have to get it exactly to the size because if there's extra, we can always keep wrapping it around, or if you don't have enough, you can always add another piece. So when you're ready to rip it, you start pulling it this direction so that it will start to tear. And then you put your box on top of it, and you just bring the foil up the side, kind of like fold it over, bring it up the other side. And it was just a little bit too small, which like I said, no big deal. We're just gonna get another piece, and we are going to lay it right down over top of the empty spot. Now, we have a little bit of extra that we're going to fold into this side. So fold it over to the side so that you're starting to cover up the whole box. And I have a little bit of empty space here. No big deal. Just gonna pull off another piece. cover that right up. And then do the same thing on the other side. Now we have the body of our robot covered in foil. I'm going to set that to the side. And time to cover up the tissue box. I'm not going to cover this opening because I'm going to need that opening for the neck. What I'm going to do is use the paper towel tube to stick on the inside of that hole to serve as the neck for the robot. So I'm going to put foil all the way around it except not on this side. Just leave that empty right there in the center, and then you can fold it around on the sides. There we go. Now we have our robot head covered in foil. I'm going to set that to the side. Now I'm going to fold some foil around these pieces. There we go. That's for the neck. Should have enough for both of the toilet paper tubes. Just roll them up and then just tuck that foil in on the side and then tuck it in on the other side. These are going to be like the little arms of the robot. Roll it up, tuck it in. There we go. Okay, so the next thing I want to try to do is get some of those screws into the front of the body of the robot. And I've never tried this before, so we'll see how it goes. I have like these short little screws and I have a screwdriver. Just make sure that the type of screwdriver you have matches the kind of screws that you have. And I'm gonna try to put one in each corner to make it look like he's actually built out of metal. So I'm gonna push down and see if I can turn it and get the screw into the cardboard. Looks like it's working. Cool, it actually worked. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the other 3 corners. For the next part, I'm just gonna add a few more details. If you have more like lids and things, like smaller ones that look like buttons, like maybe those little lids that come off of the baby food pouches, you know, those little like fruit pouches, you could glue those on here to make it look like different buttons, but I'm just going to use Sharpies because you can draw right on top of aluminum foil, and that's how I'm going to make it look like he has some more buttons on here so that our robot can do different things. So let's say we want to put like a gauge here that has like an arrow that points to the different notches. So just draw little lines for the notches for his gauge. And then I got a couple of colored Sharpies, so you can draw like lights that would light up at the top. And you can put some buttons on the bottom. Okay, the next thing I want to do is measure the neck piece, which is your paper towel tube, and I want to see how long I need that to be for attaching the head of the robot. So what you're going to do is stick one end of the paper towel tube into your tissue box, and then kind of line it up with the body to see how long you want the neck to be, because I don't want it to be this long, because that's just way too long. That doesn't look right. So I'm going to bring it down and line it up so that maybe I want my neck to be sticking out just a little bit like that. And you can even take a pen or a pencil or a marker and measure and put a little line, and then you can cut it. So pull this back out, take your scissors, and cut off what you don't need. Okay, before I use the paper towel roll to connect the head to the body of the robot, I do want to add the details onto the head. And I also don't like how the foil is kind of flapping out from the sides here, so I'm just going to use a little bit of clear tape. So if I use clear tape, then hopefully nobody will really see it. So I'm just going to tape down the area that was flapping out and that was bothering me. So I have a little bit here that I want to tape down. Yeah, that looks better to me. Okay, so now for the eyes of my robot, like I said before, I'm using these lids from a Gatorade bottle. And if you have a glue gun and you have an adult that can help you with that, you can go ahead and glue the eyes. I'm just going to see how it works if we use the duct tape. So when you rip off a small piece of duct tape, make sure that it's going to be small enough to fit behind the eye, because you don't want any of that tape to be like peeking out from behind where the eye is. You're going to roll that up into a little tape donut. So you like stick it to itself, so the sticky side is on the outside and it looks like a little donut. And you stick the donut on the back of the lid and then tape it right on there. All right, and you do the same thing for the other eye. Small piece of tape, roll it around so that it sticks to itself with the sticky side out. So you have a little donut, and you stick that on the back of the eye and tape it right on. All right, so we got two eyes, and like I said, we were going to do kind of like an ear or like a little piece that's sticking off the side of the robot's head. And these are baby jar lids, and we're gonna do the same thing with the duct tape. We're gonna rip the piece off. We're gonna make a tape donut, stick it on the back, and then stick it on the side of the robot's head. Same thing for the other side. And there we go. So we have those two things attached now, and it actually seems to be staying pretty well. So if you don't have hot glue, it really shouldn't be that big of an issue. And what I want to do now is kind of add just a few more details for the mouth. So if you have like a Sharpie, or I'm not sure if regular markers would work, maybe they would. I'm just going to give him a little mouth, so I'm going to draw a rectangle with lines going up and down to give him a robot mouth. Now I'm ready to attach the neck. So to attach the neck, you are going to get some duct tape. You can get a bigger piece this time. And make a tape donut. And one side of the donut is gonna stick on top of your paper towel roll, and the other side is gonna stick inside of here. So try to get it inside of the hole without sticking to that, and you go all the way down inside the tissue box and press the tape so that it sticks on the inside. So basically it's sticking to this side with the inside of the tissue box on the top. Okay, we'll see how well that holds. And now we need to get another piece of tape, kind of a big one. And we're going to attach it to this side of the paper towel tube. And then the other sticky side, this is the front, right? So you're gonna go up to the top and you're going to make sure you have the front lined up with the front here and turn it and attach it. So this part doesn't seem to be working too well with duct tape, so you might need the hot glue at least for attaching here. Okay, so I did have to use a little bit of hot glue in here to attach the head to the body of the robot, just because the duct tape was coming up here and making it too wobbly. So it seems to be attached pretty well now with the hot glue. So the last thing that I want to do for my robot is I want to attach the wheels, which we are going to use the egg cartons for, and the paint is now dry. And we're going to attach little arms, which are going to be our toilet paper tubes. And I think that duct tape will work for this. So rip off some of the duct tape and go ahead and make some donuts. And you're going to put that along the side of the top of the egg carton. And then the top of the egg carton is going to get attached to the side of the robot. So I'm going to put one duct tape donut right here, and I'm going to put another one right here. Alright, so now I have two that are right in the middle of the top of the egg carton, and I'm going to tape it right here to the side of the robot's body. And I'm going to line it up so that the bottom down here of the egg carton is kind of resting on the table, so it's lined up with the bottom of the robot here. That looks like it's pretty stable, so you can leave that like that. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side for the other set of wheels. Okay, the last thing that you're going to want to attach are the toilet paper tubes, and those are going to be for the arms of the robot, so we're going to attach them up here. And you're going to get your duct tape and make one of those tape donuts, and you're going to stick it on the side of the robot, right like that. And then do the same thing for the other side. Okay, and now your robot is complete. So I hope you had fun today. I hope you were able to find all the materials that you needed in order to make one of these cool robots. If you get a chance to make a robot using whatever materials you have at your house, if you could upload the picture of that to Schoology, I'd love to take a look and see what you've been making at home. Shout out to Natalie for uploading a picture of her turtle to Schoology. and I hope you are able to upload your pictures as well, and I'll give you a shout out on the YouTube video that I make. And stay tuned for the rest of the week as we make some more things out of items that you can find at your house.